All right, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome into NFL No Cap post week 3 edition. And let's get right into it. And I want to start the day with the only place you can start when you're talking football after week 3. The disaster that took place down there in South Florida as the Denver Broncos went to Miami and got their ass cut by 50 points. Back in the preseason, a lot of different storylines, preseason training camp, stuff like that. But I'm quite sure you all remember when brand new Denver Bronco head coach Sean Payton said that last season Nathaniel Hackett did the worst coaching job ever with that Denver Bronco team. Something to that like. He took a shot at Nathaniel Hackett for how he coached the football team. Let me tell you something, Sean Payton, the audacity. The audacity of Sean Payton to talk about anybody else and then come out there this season and do this right here. You see, last year, Nate Hackett didn't have a 50-point loss on his record. He didn't see a team give up 726 yards of offense. 70 points, Sean Payton, and you got the audacity to talk about somebody else after that horrific job that your team did? What you going to do, blame Russell Wilson for this one? Is Russell Wilson's fault the defense gave up 70 points? Is Russell Wilson's fault they ran for 8 yards a carry? It's Russell Wilson's fault they averaged 10 yards a play? I understand the Dolphins got a dynamic offense, but Jesus Christ, Sean Payton, you going to blame Russell Wilson for this? You got the opposing team up by 50 with 8 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. You should be ashamed of yourself to mention another head coach's name with the job you're doing right now with this Denver Bronco team. Yes, Russell Wilson's a stiff, but you can't blame him for this one, Sean. What a disaster. Oh, my God. They in the end zone doing TikTok dances. And you got the audacity to raise your voice and talk about somebody else? You got the audacity to come to the post conference and point fingers at Russell Wilson? The way this defense playing, can't tackle, quit on you, don't show up. Man, this thing in Denver is bad. But one thing I will say is this. Russell Wilson's ass is going to be up out of there. Sean Payton going to fix this team? He will, but it won't be with Russell Wilson. But Sean Payton, please, sir, before you start spouting out your lips, talking about somebody else's coaching job, look in the mirror, brother. You're doing a horrific job, worse than what Hackett did last year. A more positive note, the Miami Dolphins. Good job, Miami Dolphins. I've been critical of the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel and Tua and their style. But whatever they doing this year, that thing is humming. They got it working. Love the dynamic offense. Love the way Tua's playing. Love the way they running the football. I love the passion, the joy. Everything that is Miami Dolphin football right now, I'm a big part of it. I like it. I like to see them playing like this. I like the innovation to the game. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Tua MVP candidate, yes. Does he deserve to have the shortest odds right now? He does. Is he going to win the award? Let's see what happens when adversity strikes. Like when they have to go to Buffalo. The Kansas City Chiefs are on this schedule. The Cowboys are on this schedule. The Eagles are on this schedule. So there's going to be some games where you're going to go up against top-notch opponents, and let's see what happens when adversity strikes. But as far as right now goes, this is the Miami Dolphins team that's headed to the playoffs, and they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. Gotta like where the Miami Dolphins are at right now. They're doing fantastic. I'm a fan of what the Miami Dolphins are doing. The Dallas Cowboys. Typical Dallas Cowboy letdown spot right here. First of all, shout out to Gannon, Jonathan Gannon, head coach, Arizona Cardinals. He got them boys playing good. They come to compete every week. And obviously, he has a knowing of Dak Prescott and Dallas Cowboy offense. But that's not an excuse for how terrible Dallas looked yesterday. How about this, Cowboys? How about you don't go to Arizona and go hang out and party with your girlfriends and gumads, or some of you maybe even brought your wife along on this trip because the Cowboys played like a team that was out in Arizona hanging and banging on Saturday night, not even thinking about the Cardinals. It looked like they had the Arizona flu. And let me tell you something. Arizona is a place where a lot of professional athletes live. It's a party city. There's a lot of groupies and thoughts out there. They get it in Arizona. It looked like the Cowboys was partying on Saturday night because on Sunday, they didn't show up. Disastrous performance all around. Coaching, offense, defense. Nobody gets a pass. Big letdown spot for Dallas. Hardest thing to do in sports is to go from good to being great. Go from being good to being great. Cowboys still got some work to do. Because if you're great, you don't drop the ball like this. If you're great, you take care of business. Cowboys did not take care of business. Now, I'm not going to give the quarterback too hard of a time. Because I'm sitting there watching this game yesterday, and I'm like, well, the defense ain't covering it, so Dak going to have to win it. And I knew I was watching with my eyes. If I see it, I got to say it. No cap Corey. I was watching with my eyes. I was waiting for that interception. Because I knew Dak wanted to throw that interception so bad. But this is what I noticed from Prescott. Prescott is, the interceptions are in Prescott's head. He just was patting the football, not trusting his eyes, taking sacks, getting out the pocket, throwing the ball out of bounds. He was not trying to drive the football downfield because he was scared of the interception. It's gotten to his head. And then he still throws the interception. But I'm not going to give Dak too much of the blame for this one. This was a united, disgusting effort from the Dallas Cowboys. Take the road trip seriously, fellas, no doubt. Because you can't come out there and looking like this. That's a team that partied on Saturday night. They all broke curfew. They did not do what they were supposed to do on this road trip. It was a boys' trip. It was a fellas' weekend. It wasn't a business trip. Like I said, shout out to Jonathan Gannon. That game plan was tight. Them boys fight every week, doing a good job with that team. Cowboys bounce back, shouldn't be no problem. But I'm worried a little bit about Dak Prescott and his confidence because you could tell that patting the football, happy feet in the pocket, he's scared to throw the football down the field in a tight game because he don't want an interception. It's gotten to his head. You got to play the quarterback position loose and free and easy, or else it's not going to be successful. But like I said, I'm not going to come down too hard on Dak yet. Now, last week, I came down pretty hard on one Mr. Deshaun Watson. And you know what? This week, shout out to Deshaun Watson. He did rebound, had a bounce-back performance. Deshaun Watson was fantastic this week. And I'm giving him his props despite the fact that he went up against the worst defense in the NFL as it comes to opposing quarterbacks and passing the football. Okay, you're exaggerating, fantasy exec. You just hating on Watson. Well, let's go to the numbers. If you look right here, Fantasy Life DVOA tool, Tennessee Titans, let's see, versus running backs, they're fantastic. Versus wide receivers, see this number right here? It's third most in the NFL. So, yes, you can get down the field. You can have explosive plays against them, right? But shout out to Deshaun Watson for taking advantage of it, making the explosive play in an environment. He looked like, I'm going to pull up the stats right now. He looked like vintage Deshaun Watson. He like the Deshaun Watson that you give $230 million of guaranteed money to. That's the Watson he looked like yesterday. He was fantastic. Just look at these numbers right here on this game log for Deshaun Watson yesterday. 27 to 33, 289 yards, 81% completion percentage, 8.8 yards a throw, 2 touchdown passes. Good job for Deshaun Watson. Nice bounce back week for Watson. I'm not even going to sit up here. Listen, I gave him a hard time last weekend. I'm going to keep it a buck. This weekend, he came out. He did his thing. And listen, if I see it, I got to say it. I'll show you tough love one week. I'll come back and be your boy the next week. Now, on the other side of this, I'm going to keep this share screen up because they got a big game coming up this weekend, right? With the Ravens and the Browns. Right now, I saw where Cleveland opened up as a 1.5-point favorite in this game. Cleveland's a real good football team. And if Watson can play to the level he's supposed to, Cleveland can be in the AFC Championship game. That defense is legit. They're well coached. Everything is there except for the sporadic quarterback play. When the quarterback play was there yesterday, the Browns look like one of the teams, a top team in the AFC. They got a matchup coming up against Baltimore, who dropped the dud yesterday. That game opens up with the Browns as a 1.5-point favorite. That game is going to come down to quarterback play. I'm gonna take the Ravens and Deshaun and I'm gonna take the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I think it's going to be a good game, but Watson, do not be the reason why this team loses that game. You're gonna have to be on your job next weekend at home. Now, I want to look at some other stuff from this game right here, because I want you to see the level of this Tennessee Titan offense and how this is maybe historically one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Historically. I mean, because when you look at these numbers right here, Tannehill, 13 of 25, 104 yards. That's horrific. 2 of 12 on third down. Horrific. They ran 45 plays, gained 94 yards. 2.1 yards a play. 68 yards passing. You see what I'm saying here? They might as well run the damn Veer offense. They setting offense back. Man, listen, stop putting Tannehill out there. If the offense can't move the football with Tannehill in there, let one of the kids get a shot. Let Levis or the other kid get a shot. Or Willis get a shot. Because Tannehill ain't getting it done. You might as well sit him up there and run the power sweep every play. Because when you face a team like the Browns, where you can't just lean on Derrick Henry and how they get after the run, man, that thing looked terrible yesterday. That is an embarrassment to offensive football. 94 total yards, 2 first downs. Well, 2 of 12 on third down. Everybody was Taylor Swift was at the game. Taylor Swift this, Taylor Swift that. Maybe it's just me. I was not impressed. The other shorty Travis Kelce had was all right. Taylor Swift, I mean, she's just not my type. Taylor Swift. You got to have some wiggle when you walk. No, nothing shake when Taylor Swift walk. That first shorty he had was all right. But, to each his own. Celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City Chiefs mopped up the Bears yesterday. Made easy work. Pat Mahomes rolled his ankle, but still came back, looked strong. Kansas City, you wanted to see Kansas City's offense look good after Kansas City looked like they struggled offensively the first couple of weeks. So it was good to see Kansas City's offense take that step you wanted to see them take. I like Sky Moore as a player. You know what I'm saying? They got the different running backs to throw at you. Obviously, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce. They got that thing humming yesterday. And, of course, it would be against the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears had a horrible week last week. Not making excuses for the Chicago Bears, though, but what another disastrous performance for the Chicago Bears. If the Bears are the worst team in the league again this year, they're drafting a quarterback. You better believe it. Because, listen, the bottom line of the matter is, no matter how much time we want to give Justin Fields, son ain't getting it done. He's not. Terrible again yesterday, you know what I'm saying? But this right here is problematic. I want to bring up some comments that Fields had in the post game. I want to bring up some comments that Fields had in the post game. And I want you to see why I think that the Chicago Bears have a bigger problem on their hands with Justin Fields. Check this out.
Just life in general, to be honest with you. And I think, this past week has had me kind of look at it like, what are the important things in life? Because, when things are going good, you feel me, like, not say whatever, but, I think these past couple of weeks have made me appreciate, the little things in life, like being able to play this game. So, every opportunity I get to go out there and play, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to play.
You see, this is my problem with this right here. When the player starts talking about the other things in life besides ball, the player's lost. His mental is gone. It's in his head. He's in playing for a legacy franchise like the Bears. Comments about the coaching staff. His play is terrible. He knows that. And when you start talking about, I'm looking at the other stuff in life, yeah, son is lost. He don't have long to be the Chicago Bears quarterback. He's going to be starting his career as a backup shortly. Sorry to say it. I just got to keep it a buck. If I see it, I got to say it, and that's the truth on Justin Fields. The Bluebirds were out yesterday in a couple of locations. Let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hardest thing to do in sports and in life is to go from being good to being great. The Jacksonville Jaguars, while though they are good, they're nowhere near great. You remember coming into the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars were a minus 150 favorite to win the AFC South. And I thought to myself, who in the hell would pay minus 150 for the Jacksonville Jaguars to be a division champion after really just 6 games down the stretch last year of them looking like a competent team? I love Trevor Lawrence. I think Doug Peterson's a good coach. I think they can pull this thing together. But Jacksonville is in a division race with the rest of those teams in that division. Jacksonville is not up there with Kansas City. Jacksonville ain't up there with Buffalo and Baltimore and those teams. Jacksonville is the middle of the pack AFC team. See it, I got to say it. They're better than a team like Pittsburgh. They're not as good as the Cleveland Browns. Not as good as Baltimore. Not as good as Cincinnati. Yeah, they can compete with. Now they're better than the Jets. Buffalo and New York, but Buffalo's better than them. But you get my drift. You see what I'm saying. They're not an elite AFC team. They're a good AFC team, but they're going to be in a division fight this year. Now, I want to get to the next team that the Boo Birds came out this week because, yes, the Jacksonville Jaguars were booed off the field this week in their home stadium. At halftime, they got booed. At the end of the game, they got booed. They made that furious comeback, fell short. Houston Texans kicked their ass, and I'm getting to the Houston Texans in a second. The Boo Birds were also out in Minnesota, where the Vikings lost to the Chargers in probably the worst coach game in the history of coaching. Kevin O'Connell and that jackass Brandon Staley did the best both of them was trying to lose that game. It's just that Kirk Cousins elevated the process. Brandon Staley is going to get fired during the season. Let me tell you something. You can't keep making these horrific play calls, these horrific fourth down calls, putting your team in bad spots. You're causing the team to lose the game. Staley, that's you. You caused the team to lose. They bailed you out yesterday. Your job's on the line, Jack. You better I guarantee you that. They're going to let you go during the season because the players can't be happy with them doing all this work and then you going for it on 4th and 15 or 4th and whatever in your own territory. Punt the ball. A punt is not always a negative play. People look at punts like they're negative plays. A punt is not always a bad play. But some of that stupid stuff that Staley does is always bad plays. But Kirk Cousins bailed you out this week. So you get a chance to live again, brother, because Kirk Cousins bailed you out this week. Now, CJ Stroud has been the best of the rookie quarterbacks after 3 weeks in the season. CJ Stroud deserves to get a game ball from me, the fantasy executive, no cap Corey. Stroud has been phenomenal this year. When the Texans say they got the right guy, they got the right guy. They also got the right guy at head coach in DeMeco Ryans. He's passionate. He's got this team believing. They come out and they fight every week. Yes, it's going to be some bad weeks where they look like a young team with young talent, and he looks like a young head coach. There's no fight. There's no quit. There's no give up. The Broncos quit. Houston doesn't quit. Jacksonville was mediocre. Houston plays above their level. Jacksonville tends to play below their level. So don't write out the Houston Texans. Shout out to CJ Stroud. He's doing a fantastic job at the start of his career. Tank Dell, all those dudes, Nico Collins, they're putting it together. DeMeco Ryans doing a hell of a job with that football team. Shout out to him. Now, quarterback play in the NFL, it varies. There's some good weeks. There's some bad weeks. Ryan Tannehill, more than likely, is a part of a bad week of quarterbacking. No doubt about that one right there. Now, another guy, Mac Jones. Mac Jones, in his rookie year, showed his intelligence at the position. He ran the offense to a T. He was a big reason why that team made the playoffs his rookie year. Last year, you have the excuse of not having an offensive coordinator. This year, you have no excuses. Mac Jones don't make plays. Mac Jones is as pedestrian as a quarterback as there is in the NFL. a dink and dunker, a game manager, scared to pull the pin when it's the right time. Doesn't look like the same player he was his rookie year. Another player, another quarterback where their mental game can't handle what's going on. Zach Wilson, disaster. Sam Howell. I'm not going to be quick to judge Sam Howell because I think Sam Howell could pull it together and turn it around, but that was god-awful yesterday. 4 interceptions. You just couldn't wait to throw it Dak Prescott style. And like the one field throw where you can hand the person the football, Sam Howell, that was you yesterday. You know what? The Commanders in their the Commanders were the most bet team at DraftKings Sportsbook yesterday. And when I heard that, I was like, God darn it, I'm one of those jackasses too. Believe in the Commanders. You won't fool me again. I think Howell will play better on the road than he will at home. That's the kind of player I think he's going to be. I think there's a lot of pressure in that building, a lot of pressure around that franchise. They want to be optimistic. Still a long way to go, Washington. Like, you know how it says it's good to great? It's hard. It's going to be hard to try to get good, Washington. But there is reason to be optimistic. But Sam Howell was god-awful yesterday. Finally, Jimmy Garoppolo, who I'm a supporter of, it's time to pack it up, bro. Causing your team games. Jimmy Garoppolo at one point, solid, Super Bowl, NFC champion twice. The only real Shanahan quarterback recently that won games for them. Now that Brock Purdy is gone, that's not true no longer. But Jimmy G, it's your best days are behind you. It really is. Turning the football over the way you do, causing the team to lose. They can't open up the running game because they just stack the box because they don't think Jimmy G, with Devontae Adams on the team, can beat them. Jimmy G, you got to do better. The Raiders will once again be at the bottom of the AFC. NFL No Cap, week 3. If I see it, I got to say it. I just told it like it is.